Derby County completed their fifth signing of the summer yesterday evening, with Patrick Agyemang signing on a 4-year contract. Now obviously that adds to the striker department, but what is still missing for Derby County, and where are Derby County really going to go from here? Now obviously if we look at the squad depth chart that Derby County currently have, we know there's a lot of work that still needs to be done in my personal opinion, especially in those wide areas and central midfield. I think for a lot of the pitch we're looking in really good shape, especially the forward line and especially in those defensive areas, but a little bit of youth and exuberance would not go amiss. Now obviously John Eustace has got some massive decisions to make over the course of the next few weeks in regards to players who could potentially move on and players who may be staying for this upcoming season. But what are those decisions going to be, and what do I believe that Derby County need to do next? Now obviously you can let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments if you have not done so already. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell. But shall we take a deep dive into squad depth? Do you want to win yourself the brand new Derby County 2025-26 home shirt? Well, I'm here to give you an opportunity to do that. There will be a link down in the description where you can head on over to raffle.com to join a raffle where you can win the Derby County home shirt. Ticket prices start at just £1 with a range of different discounts available. You can buy 2 tickets, get 2 free, 5 tickets, get 5 free, 10 tickets, get 10 free, and 15 tickets to get 15 free. The intention with this is to give you guys the opportunity to win a Derby County shirt for less than the valued cost in the shop. So if you haven't done so already, head on down to the description, click on the link in the description which will take you over to raffle.com, create yourself an account, answer the question and join this raffle. The winner will be announced on August 1st at 6 p.m. as the transfer window begins to draw to a close. So if you haven't done so already, head on over there and get your tickets. Now, as you can see on screen, Derby County have realistically some very good depth in certain areas of the pitch, and I think Derby County are starting to shape their side together for this upcoming campaign, which gets underway in less than a month's time. Now obviously as you've just seen from the squad depth chart, there's a lot of work that still needs to happen in my opinion. Now obviously I have Andreas Weimann at right wing, I have Ben Osborne in left back, obviously you've got the likes of Ward involved in that as well, the likes of Rooney, Dejan Brown and things like that, but obviously all of this can change. Now for me, I wouldn't at all be surprised to see the likes of Joe Ward, Jake Rooney, Dejan Brown all move on. I'm not going to turn around and say permanently. I think there's a possibility that Jake Rooney could end up on loan. Same with Dejan Brown. It wouldn't surprise me to see Joe Ward even move out permanently, personally, if I'm honest. Like, there was a lot of rumours circulating back in the January transfer window about a move that could have been coming his way across the course of that window to Mansfield Town, but obviously Derby County then saw Ryan Niambi out and Kane Wilson both out, which meant that I think Ward came in for 1 game and then I think Wilson was back, so ended up getting injured again and sitting on the sidelines. Now, for me, there's obviously a lot of work still to do in the midfield. You can move Ben Osborne into that, you can chuck Jake Rooney into that, and if obviously we look at the squad list that Derby County have took to Austria, you've got the likes of Darren Robinson in there. Who else was on that list? Like, you've got some midfielders in there, and for me, we've discussed midfielders time and time again across the course of the last few weeks or so, really, and I think that's one of the main areas that Derby County is sort of lacking. It's that creativity, it's that box-to-box energy, and I think Derby County have energy in midfield. I think they have players within their midfield unit who are certainly good enough, but I think the big question really has got to be is, where is that creativity coming from, and who is going to be that creative player? Because I think that's sort of where Derby County is sort of missing a lot. Now, obviously, there's going to be a lot of talking points in regards to some of the youth talent that's coming through. Obviously, the likes of Darren Robinson. I think Jack Perry can play central midfield. You look at someone like Freddie Turley who can play in there as well. Lennon Wilden can play as a number 10. And I think as much as I'd love to see youngsters come through, I think you just want that bit of expected quality in the midfield. And I think you look at Liam Thompson, Ben Osborne, Ibu Adams, Kenza Heldmine, and yes, there's quality there. I think Tomo is a really good player. I think Ibu is really good at what he does. Ben Osborne, sort of a bit 50-50 on him, obviously given his injury situations, and then obviously we can discuss Kenzo, who in my opinion is the best midfielder at the club if you put him in the right circumstance. Now, realistically, I think Derby County is still about 4 players short. I think at least one winger, maybe 2. I think we need one more sitting midfielder and one more 10. And that's about it, really. Now, then the conversation goes on to what the future looks like for Dejan Brown, for Jake Rooney, the likes of Joe Ward, and how that then impacts what Derby County will need to do. Because obviously, we can look at the squad depth time and time again, and obviously you've got the likes of Kmar Roof and Eric Peters still training with Derby, which is obviously good for them. Kmar Roof has obviously headed to Austria with John Eustace in the squad, which is obviously intriguing to look at, but in my opinion it's probably more down to the injury situation than actually Kmar Roof potentially getting a deal, but we'll obviously have to wait and see on that one. But for me, I'm happy with the 4 strikers we've got. I'm happy with the defensive unit we've got. Even if Joe Ward stays, I'm happy. And I'm happy with the goalkeepers. The only places where I really have my issues is those wide areas and central midfield. And I think a lot of people are feeling the same. Obviously, you can let me know on that one down in the comments. But for me, I'm not completely sold on Caden Jackson. Despite his bright start to last year, really petered off and never hit the form again. You look at Corey Blackett-Taylor. Since joining Derby County, all he's done is shown spells. Is not really given us anything long term, anything that can give us the benefit of the doubt to give him. But obviously we'll have to wait and see on that one. Obviously Andy Vyman, we're not entirely sure whereabouts he's going to play in that forward line. And for me, there's also a possibility that Kane Wilson could be part of those forwards. Joe Ward could be part of those forwards. But obviously at the moment, looking at how the team looked across the course of the last few months, I think it's one of those where it's going to be really, really interesting to see how it does develop, because obviously there's still the potential of 5 loan players. There's still the potential of players leaving. Like, that could happen. There is always that possibility. You never know what moves are going to be made by other clubs and how that could trigger Derby County. But obviously it's going to be an interesting one. It will be interesting to see where the likes of Rio Canaville, Charles Abuka, Tristan Gill, Isaac Gordon, Kai Robinson, Darren Robinson, all of those youngsters, obviously there's Jack Perry, there's Oguntolu, Wilden, Turley, all of these players who could fit into this squad. And they obviously don't need to be registered as youngsters, but I think Darren Robinson might need to be registered, but everybody else is pretty much home and host, can literally do what they want. And that's the interesting part for me, because if John Eustace has faith in them, he doesn't really need to max out his squad. But obviously you look at those players, the only forwards there is Oguntolu, Lennon Wilden, and that's it really. Charles Abuka as well, but obviously Abuka's a striker, Oguntolu's a striker. You look then at Wilden, he can obviously play anywhere across the front 4, 10, left, right and through the middle. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this one does develop. Now, obviously, it's going to be an intriguing one for John Eustace to get his head around as well. Obviously, we've got the friendly with Red Bull Salzburg. I think that is on Friday evening, which will be interesting to keep across and see what sort of squad Derby County put out. I don't expect to see Curtis Nelson. Don't expect to see Kane Wilson. I'm doubtful that we'll see Carlton Morris, although I'm not entirely sure of that situation. As you can probably imagine, we're all in the same boat on that one, but I'd really like to see the likes of Isaac Gordon, Freddie Turley again. I think Charles Abuka got himself into some good places. But obviously, if we're then going to take a little bit of a conclusion to this video, it is that situation of Derby County are desperate for creative midfielders and probably a dictator, and they're desperate for wide players, because as much as, yes, Ward can play there, yes, Wilson can play there, yes, you've got Blackett, Taylor and Jackson who can play either side, Vyman can play either side and through the middle. Ultimately, I think we need a bit more. And if it was me, I'd be doing my utmost to go out and get Tyrese Dolan, but obviously that isn't my decision to make. I don't have any control in that. So it's one of those where we're just going to have to wait and see what does happen. Now, obviously, you can let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you have not done so already, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell. and I'll catch you in my next video. Do you want to win yourself the brand new Derby County 2025-26 home shirt? Well, I'm here to give you an opportunity to do that. There will be a link down in the description where you can head on over to raffle.com to join a raffle where you can win the Derby County home shirt. Ticket prices start at just £1 with a range of different discounts available. You can buy 2 tickets, get 2 free, 5 tickets, get 5 free, 10 tickets, get 10 free, and 15 tickets to get 15 free. The intention with this is to give you guys the opportunity to win a Derby County shirt for less than the valued cost in the shop. So if you haven't done so already, head on down to the description, click on the link in the description which will take you over to raffle.com, create yourself an account, answer the question and join this raffle. The winner will be announced on August 1st at 6 p.m. as the transfer window begins to draw to a close. So if you haven't done so already, head on over there and get your tickets.